on a bar, they said. So we're coming to the interwebs from Golden Rule, Georgetown, Texas. Restaurant, bourbon bar, cocktail bar, great patio with the two proprietors,
Masterminds, if you will.
creators. Also,
Aficionados.
also, they tried to look like us. Like our influence is growing across the world. So, Brad, Cody, welcome to Own a Bar, they said.
Hey guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Where we talk shit, where nobody else at our bar that we work at can hear us.
Yeah.
Especially not during lunch service in the middle of the day.
They're definitely not going to watch this. So
No,
we're good to go for a second.
nobody. We're up to like 8 subscribers on YouTube, so we're kind of a big deal now.
We're related to all of them.
Your wives, yes.
Yeah, well, our wife
Get it.
joined today too, so now it's 10.
So you're saying
Numbers-
we doubled our viewership.
Numbers are going through the roof, boys.
And
Let's go.
yeah, some of my kids aren't old enough to have the YouTube and be the subscribers, so, you know. So let's jump right into this thing.
Let's do it.
We're going to try to stay on task. It doesn't happen. And y'all don't do that shit either. So it's going to be great. Who knows where we'll end up? We know where we're going to start, right?
Yep.
You okay over
It's
there?
these fucking tahini rooms, man. They get me every time. I go in hard to the cocktail
Heard that
tahini.
about you.
I like it hard,
Yeah.
wet on the inside, hard on the outside.
Okay. We also do this.
Yeah.
It's okay with just a little drop, just a little hint.
Yeah.
It's fine. And Jared wants to continue to talk about it and make it really weird.
Okay.
So welcome, boys.
Good start.
Yep. So tell us about Golden Rule. Where, when, why was this concept kind of invented as your brainchild?
Yeah. Well, it goes back to COVID. Thank God, actually. Brad and I, big restaurateurs. I've eaten in restaurants before at that point.
Yeah.
I think I've seen him in one as well.
Yep. Maybe you shared a
bars.
meal at one?
Yeah. A couple. No, actually, during COVID, we were wanting to open a bourbon bar, and the state of Texas wouldn't allow people to open bars. So the next best thing that they would let you open is a restaurant. So we took our idea of a bourbon bar and turned it into a restaurant.
So I'll tell you, ours. So this is a deep dive, Cody. So we won't tell you anybody which political board he may or may not be on. No confirmation. Fucking to you.
He's going to do this the whole time.
Oh my gosh.
You can tell the bartender no more to you for this man.
Can you just-
He's had his limit.
I'll edit
What's
Give
the?
him the Heimlich.
It's the pissed off machete too.
it.
So
Okay, so
Yeah.
this drink,
yes,
Is
pissed off
pissed off.
machete, extra tahini on the rim, outside and inside. You found that out.
yes, both.
It looks fantastic.
You don't drink it through your nose.
No,
you know
you
that,
don't.
right?
And
Does it come with instructions?
it does have a fresh jalapeno in it. You know what I'm talking about? I know who this drink was named after.
Mm-hmm.
Is that bless you, Chet?
Is it from the Machete movie?
No,
you wish.
no, it's a pissed off machete
Chet.
after Chet Garner.
Chat.
Yeah, the day
Another
tripper.
local celebrity here we hope to have on the pod soon. So,
He's way too famous for you
way
guys.
too famous.
Yeah.
And if you did this shit, he would just walk off.
Oh, no,
He's
yeah,
like,
he'd be
these
gone.
guys are not professional.
So, back to where the concept started. You guys wanted a bourbon bar. Your brains made love to each other. You had this brainchild. At the Golden Rule,
Mhm.
Josh and I, as you know, our debut podcast would let everybody know, we were on the beach in Mexico together over cocktails and figuring out, well, I don't want to do the job that I was doing.
Our wives were there too. They just,
Doesn't need to be
Yeah,
said.
it's,
Yeah.
I think it does.
And much like yourselves, like we love cocktails, been to a restaurant a time or two, thought, hey, if Brad and Cody can do it, yeah,
Clearly.
how difficult
Clearly.
could this possibly be?
we said the same about each other all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy can do it.
Yeah, then I can do it.
Yeah.
So you have this dream. You're like, okay, let's start a bourbon bar. We couldn't open up during COVID.
Yep.
So you had to bring food into play. It's a restaurant. It's
That's
not
right.
a speakeasy or bourbon bar. Wink.
Mhm.
So what was that point that you said, okay, this is actually a real thing? Like we're really doing this. I think for Josh and I, the concept, and it's fun to think of things over cocktails somewhere.
Yeah.
It's another thing when you start putting out plans or looking for real estate, or trying to figure out how you're going to pay for the damn thing in the first place. So where kind of did that point go to where you both said, shit, are we really about to do this? Or did that ever cross your mind?
Well, no, it did. We wanted to do a bourbon bar. We didn't have a spot for it. And we thought some friends of ours had bought this building. And so we reached out, like, hey, did you guys end up buying that building?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he would like it.
One water.
Why
Yeah.
did you turn down the water for Jared?
For the lady at the table.
That's exactly why. I was enjoying this too much.
Oh, yes. He's like,
Oh, that's vodka too, by the way.
That's perfect as long as it doesn't have jalapeno in it. No, we can put it past it either.
Yeah. Okay.
No, well, we thought they did. And so I called him and he said, no, we ended up not doing the deal. I said, well, can we put a bourbon bar in there? I'd never been in the building before. He's like, can we put a bourbon bar there? And he's like, yeah, I think we could. And so we bought the building and then we're like, oh shit, we're pot committed. Like we gotta do something. Right. And that was 2018. That was like November of 2018, maybe.
Yeah.
And we're like, 6-month build out will be good.
I think you guys know how that goes.
Yes.
Maybe.
So we were talking earlier about like things that normal people hear and how they react, and things that like entrepreneurs hear and how they react.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
Yeah.
One of the people like, yeah, what's wrong with 6 months? That makes total sense.
Yep.
Small building, just quick you're in and out.
Oh
And the people who have done it are like, oh, good luck.
Well, our deal is like we'll be open by Poppy Fest, which is end of April, last weekend of
Big
April every
festival
year.
in Georgetown, thousands upon tens of thousands of people come in just for that.
So that's our running joke now. When anytime we do a new business, we're going to be open by Poppy Fest. We just don't specify which year,
Yeah.
right? Like
Smart.
Like, how long could it possibly take to renovate a corner hair salon
Yeah.
into a restaurant,
Yeah.
a bar, kitchen? I still can't believe you guys put out the food that you do in basically the closet of what was the hair salon.
Yeah.
Such a
Yeah.
small kitchen.
it was kind of a garage, I think, at one point.
right, and now it's a kitchen serves. What's your capacity here?
100 and
160.
yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what are you, a fire marshal?
So true, allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no. And John Sullivan, Chief Sullivan, is not going to watch this. Trust me. Yeah, he does not give a shit about you
What was the
guys.
other one? The chief that I knew when I was here.
Chief Nero?
Nero.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
definitely not watching this either.
No, he's not watching
Is
these.
that the guy at Cabaret that wore the police outfit?
He's no longer the chief of police, by the way.
Strategically placed.
Now he's opening for Trump at all the rallies. Yeah. Yeah. So you're
Yeah.
not committed. It's
Yeah.
2018, and you're going to open in 6 months.
Yep.
How'd that go for you?
Amazing.
Yeah. We opened up a can of worms that was 4 buildings tied together, 16 different rooms, 8 different floor elevations, and we did most of the work ourselves. So
We definitely should have bulldozed it.
Just pulled out of this.
Started fresh.
Yeah, but like the nice thing is now we can do those Facebook things where you say like how it started versus how it's going, and show the old building versus what it looks like now, and it looks like we're geniuses.
Well,
It just took 18 months and $8 kajillion.
and what's sad too is it actually caught on fire at one point.
Yeah.
And someone put it out.
Yeah.
Come on.
like,
Why did you put it out? Yeah, no, literally,
allegedly, we would never commit it.
we definitely didn't have a print shop in part of the building while we were doing this, and that didn't catch on fire.
And I'll tell you what, that's what I remember from. And I'm from Georgetown. It's no secret that we've known these guys for a long time. We couldn't be happier that they're our first actual guests. They're also the closest bar and restaurant besides our own. But
We don't the first people we asked, just the first people said yes.
Yeah,
that's separate street.
Yeah.
And we made them.
and we said no a whole lot
They did.
first off.
They
Yeah,
But when I walked by the very first time, the print shop, like people are going to hear that, like, oh, that's a cute name for one of your party rooms. No, it was an actual T-shirt and hat printing shop.
Yeah.
Yep.
As the front end of this building. So, what's the first thing that you guys did? You take over ownership of this place. We knew how long did the reno last, but what was the first thing that you guys did? Like, was there a
They're excited. This is
No,
great.
No, this is-
was there a sentimental moment where we
No.
our business partner like, dude, we are about to fuck this town out in a good way.
Let me set up the story.
yes, yes. This is going to be
Okay.
great. I feel like we're talking about the same thing. Yes.
This
Yeah.
is it.
So what we needed was our CO for the print shop so that we could actually open. Okay. So we had the schedule for 8 a.m. on a Friday morning. They were going to come in, take a look at it, give us our CO. We could start operating. So we decided to have a party the night before here, introduce everyone to the idea and the concept.
That party?
This party.
That
Yeah.
party
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we had 200 people in here.
Probably so.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I don't think that can be proven.
We sent out invites, and it was an invite only thing. We didn't tell anybody what it was for, and I think we sent out like 40 invites and maybe 200.
Maybe 200.
Yeah.
Because it's a
But it was a private party, so it didn't matter. You didn't have to have a CO for that.
no.
Yeah.
No. Did
Where this is going.
Yeah.
This is great. This is great.
okay. So the party happens
Yes.
that night.
Yeah.
The night before the
Just a couple
CO.
of people shaking hands. high-fiving,
Yes.
that was it.
We wanted to show people what the building looked like before. I mean, and we were in that room. That room. I don't know if you can tell that. Like the ceilings were like right here. There's pictures of us. Like it was crazy. So
Yep.
CO, right?
Yep.
Next day for the print shop, so we can at least get the print shop going and generate some
You're
revenue.
going to run a print shop whilst renovating
Right,
the restaurant.
right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We
Yeah.
couldn't do any work before that CO was.
Got you.
So we go into the print shop, and there are holes
At the end of the night.
at the end of the night. We had a good time. That was back when we still had the pink skeeter,
Okay.
which you guys are familiar with.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we get shithoused, right? We're just having a good time.
Yep.
We go back in there, and there are holes in the wall.
Fish shape, foot shape, head shape.
People started punching holes in the
Thinking it
wall.
was, I want to be a part of demo day.
Yes, yeah. And one of them should have known a whole lot better to not have done that. And Cody walks back there, and he's having the time of his life, and his face immediately just like,
Oh yeah.
I'm going to kill someone.
This is the rage which we alluded
Yes,
to earlier.
yes.
Yeah. Josh has that
Yeah.
rage with us.
Yeah.
And like, that drywall has to be fixed by 8 a.m.
Yeah.
because like there's
Because you don't miss city inspection.
And
Yes.
you're 9 drinks in it.
Hey,
Yeah.
and there's 57 other walls they could have
Yeah.
done that to.
yeah, but
And they
that
just
part
One.
Of the working business that you needed to make
Yes,
money while you're
yes.
really
And,
losing money.
you know, we've been friends a long time, and I know how to push his buttons. So like, I've got a great picture. Stacy and Jordana were back there with us, and I was like, let's just take a group picture. And I'll send it to you guys. Maybe you
Please,
can like
we'll
put it on the
overlay
thing.
it on-
Yeah.
Yeah, and because like me and Stacy and Jordana are all happy, and Cody is just like literally about to rip somebody's head off. It was like, we can laugh about it now, 6 years later.
Can you, Cody? Can
7
you
years,
laugh
six
about it?
and a half years.
You know what? We just did a little reno on this place, and there was a framed picture, and I was like, "The hell, we're putting this picture up." And then I sat on it for a couple of days. I was like, "All right, you can put it up, but you got to put it up way up there." So that's this notorious picture. Is
When Brady asked me for that picture and printed it out while we were doing the remodel a few weeks ago, I was like, "Hey man, I think it's too soon. I don't think you should put that up right now."
Yeah.
6 years later.
6 years later.
It's still too soon.
too soon.
So the ultimate question: did you get your CO the following morning?
We got our CO,
Yeah.
but we jumped the kid's ass. They
Yeah.
made us. They should have known. He was in here at 3 a.m. putting new drywall up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
never put up drywall in his life.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
It was
Did
probably
not-
still a better job than y'all 9 drinks in would have. So,
Yeah. But it wasn't. It was the dude who did it. We're like, you're fucking coming up here and putting drywall in.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's funny though is as the years go by, more and more people start saying, I was part of that.
Yeah.
Too. Maybe someone who had to do something to do
maybe
with that
Machete might have been involved in
dream. He
that.
may have been an
There's
instigator.
a day tripper sized hole in your back wall of the print
There-
shop.
I'm adding that question. To
And this was-
day tripper.
Yeah.
This was after Cody had to kick some random lady out because she was topless. Like,
Yeah.
just like a soccer mom back there
No, let's
having
rewind there.
a
Let's,
great time.
let's rewind for a moment. That was after I experienced the hole in the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Then
so
I came
you're
to fire.
Oh, okay.
ready to go.
Normally, I'd be like, have fun,
Yeah.
do your thing,
I'm taking pictures.
judge-free zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was after that. I was like, this is a family environment. There's nothing family environment about this place.
Yeah. Yeah. We had no idea who she was. Just some soccer mom that like busted her way in here.
What did it
How
have
is it?
pictures
Yeah.
of her?
Why is it always the soccer moms that are like the wild ones?
So I say soccer mom. I think she was a baseball mom.
Do I know that person?
No, I don't think so. But, well, actually, you might. Because I found out later who it was. Okay, what are we doing here? Oh, oh, boys, look at this.
Are you serious?
Look at this.
Did you guys actually buy this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're gonna
Well,
get
so-
sell it
Yes,
to you.
negotiation.
Yeah. Yes.
don't remember what that was. 'Cause we were
Yeah,
all
it was a
future
lot.
citizens.
It was a lot.
Holy shit, the old Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Bourbon and whiskey from Justin's Bourbon House.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Man, I'm going to start getting sentimental. So,
You're gonna start choking again.
yeah. Dude, I took another jalapeno seed and I hate it. I just fucking hate it. So,
It's way back
it
there.
did. In the back of the throat where it tickles, usually,
Let's see.
you've been in high school. So what's funny is, and I've known you guys probably a little bit longer than Josh. We moved back to Georgetown in 2012 or 2013. A large part of what ended up being the reason that we wanted to start Commonwealth
Mm-hmm.
was the community and the bar experience that my wife and I had at Mesquite Creek, right? Just really beer, wine bar, a little bit of retail, fun spot. But back in my day, because I grew up in Georgetown, it was kind of dry.
Yeah.
And you dare not open a bar in this Bible Belt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so when we came back and the square was thriving in restaurants, and didn't meet you guys until long before my wife and I had many a beer in White Claw in Mesquite Creek, and I said, I've got to know the guys who own this place. Right? I knew I had to be involved in some way, whatever way. And got to know each other a little bit, worked on a few projects, including this one in a little form. But that was part of what went into the thinking, shit, okay, it's getting real for us.
Yeah.
Why does it need to exist? Right. So what was that? And not to, maybe it's heartstring moment. Maybe it's just we wanted a cool place that we could drink. But what was the why moment for you guys?
Yeah.
Because you already had a very successful, by all standards,
Yeah, we kind of
little
glossed
bar
over the
business.
fact they've got like 19 businesses.
Yes.
at all
Yeah.
times.
They
We'll
are
touch on that here in a minute.
restaurateurs.
Yeah.
We're entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
This is one. We're up to one business
One.
collectively.
Wow.
This is
We're practically someone for Tia.
you,
right?
you are. Yes.
Uh,
you are absolutely.
No, it's fun. So we were hot to do more Mesquite Creeks.
Yeah.
Right. And we were going to do 1 million of them in every small town in Texas.
Concept,
And, yeah.
'cause you had
Right.
You've been open a couple of years now.
Yeah. And
We
so,
opened that, right? The downtown area wasn't near
Yeah.
what it is today.
and so we started getting,
Some might credit y'all with the revitalization
Yeah.
of downtown
Yeah.
Georgetown.
Yeah.
We will on this podcast.
we will for sure. 600 degrees to,
Shout out
but-
Good Pizza.
They help.
but yeah, for sure. And so every small town in Texas started calling us because we'd won some, like, no big deal. We'd won some awards.
There were major awards.
Major
Major
awards.
Huge
So
awards. Maybe the best awards ever.
we were close on a deal in a town about an hour from here, and the city manager of Georgetown was in having a beer one day, and we were talking. He's like, "How's that deal going?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're close." And he goes, "Man, I love that for you guys. We would also really love to see you guys reinvest in Georgetown." And literally, it was like, "That's it,
Yeah.
right?" So
Yeah.
why would we
Give back
not?
to the place that's given us?
Yes, this is where we live. This is where our kids go to school. This is, this is home. And so literally maybe a month later, we bought this building.
Yeah.
So from the point of then the conception to the drywall party to Chet putting his bald head through the wall, what was the build out? Like what was, kind of talk through a little bit of that, because I know you guys, that's when I started, we kind of became friends, started doing a couple of things together, but you guys did a large majority of a lot of the work.
Yeah.
Yourselves.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
talk us through that, what it was like, how long that took to get to the point that now we can think about getting our CO for the actual restaurant.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the best and the worst about us is that we know that we can do it all, but it just takes a lot longer. We think it's going to save us money. It ends up costing us. You know how it is. But we got into this building, and the more that we took it apart and demoed it, the more we found issues with it. We pretty much reframed this entire building as it stood. This room that we're sitting in right now, it was a little shed at one point that had 1/2x1s supporting this roof.
Is not
It's
structurally
what's
sound.
What's wrong with that?
Not
I didn't know that
It existed.
I'm not an engineer.
You're fine.
Integrity was-
But our engineer came in and he's like, "There's not even a formula for this.
Yeah.
I don't know how to fix this."
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of that. Kind of bringing up 16 different floor elevations too. Trying to marry them up as much as possible. You'll still see. I think there's still 5 or 6 different elevations in this place. But it was a lot, and it took us almost 2 years, year and a half
Yeah.
to.
Less.
Yeah. But also, once you started tearing down walls and started seeing like the new concept of what it could be and what it would be, and it kind of had a life of itself. You know, like this room that we're in right now, we call it the locker room. My favorite room to sit in. You know, we have like a little Catholic church confessional between the two booths here. But this is like, we envision this is where deals are going to happen. This is where major podcasts happen.
Yes.
You know,
Where they're major.
So we're waiting. I mean, any day now, a major podcast.
Yes.
Well, let me know if that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, we'll invite you guys.
Please, would you?
the biggest mistake we had though that we made, we used 5 colors of blue on this building. So now anytime that we touch anything up, it's like,
Shit, this was one of the
What
other
was it?
leads.
Yeah,
Yep.
So to repaint the whole wall, there's
the
no
whole wall.
touch-ups.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no touch
Yeah.
ups.
Or leave
Yeah.
the scars. So a year and a half, almost 2 years. And then, as I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, then COVID happened.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
people thought that, I once thought smarter people than me thought we needed to shut the world down. They were just more money hungry, and that's
Yep.
a different podcast.
Yeah, a
But,
whole different podcast.
Yep. but now it is time where you can open because the construction's almost finished. And it is in the heart.
What was the actual date? What was the timeline?
June 2020.
Well, actually, open was July. It would have been probably 2 or 3 months earlier, but once March hit,
Yeah, March of 2020.
Construction.
Everything stops.
came to a halt, right? And Williamson County, it wasn't like Travis County. Like you could still do construction, but none of the trades wanted to be in here when anyone else was in here. You know, even like my dad was helping with a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, I don't want my dad. You know, he's a little bit older. I don't want him in here. We didn't know. Yeah,
Because your
just
dad's
believe-
illegal, didn't want
Yeah,
him
well,
hauled off.
yeah,
Right.
clearly.
Yeah.
So it ended up being, it was like July 5th or 6th or something. And I think it was that maybe you could be open at 35% capacity now,
Yeah.
which I think, I mean, we looked like at the time, we're like, oh, like, fuck us.
Yeah.
But I think it helped because we were able to kind of ease into
Amp
things.
up a little bit.
Yeah, we were restaurant guys,
And-
right?
Yeah.
So
And no one wanted to work then, right? Because everybody's getting the STEMI money.
Yeah.
So we hired like the entire class of 2020 at Georgetown High School that had never worked in restaurants. Like,
yeah.
you know, like one kid who looked like he was 10.
Not sure who that kid is.
Did push-ups as his interview?
I did push up this interview. Yeah.
We don't talk about that.
Oh, okay.
There's not.
Just asking.
So it was a great training environment to get people up to speed. People were like customers were forgiving at the time because they were just happy to be out of the house. So like honestly, I think it was sort of like a God thing of
Sure.
you know that it worked out the way it did.
Even though you had bought it in 18, spent the rest of 18, all of 19, into 20, you're hemorrhaging cash at this
Yes,
point.
yes.
You probably have very little money in any of your bank accounts. You're begging, borrowing, pleading just to try to get across the fucking finish line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get open,
And
guys.
then the world announces, hey, we're going to shut down.
Yeah.
Did one of you or both of you or your whole families have a moment where you were like, well, all right. I mean, I guess it's not going to happen. I guess like this is it. We literally cannot make it past this point.
Yeah.
This is where it ends.
Send one of your small kids inside with a box of matches and just say run once it's lit.
Did you have like
Yeah.
a memorable moment, or was it just kind of like, hey, it's all part of it?
I think we did, right? Like that Friday we shut MCO down.
Yeah, we opened up a bottle of Pappy and we're like, we're gonna drink some today. We're not gonna drink until we can open again.
Yeah. So we gave ourselves that afternoon to feel sorry for ourselves
Yeah.
and drink a lot of that Pappy.
Yeah. But
Great.
God bless Pappy.
Yeah, but that
But
night
Saturday,
we went home, and we're not the type of people who sit around just like you guys are. We're like, what do we do? Let's create a grocery store. So Mesquite Creek became a grocery store. But also with over here, like I don't think we were ever too worried about, oh shit, like we were out of money,
Right.
we're screwed, because we have wives that support us through that. And like we know deep down that if something happens, we still have them.
yeah,
So this is just a place. This is a vessel for us to be able to speak in people's lives.
Yeah.
Like kids working with us. The class of 2020, we showed them what it looked like to work hard, to create something from nothing. They actually, I mean, some of the hostesses that were 15 at that time, they helped us with policy and procedure because we didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was a really cool time to see a lot of people come together to create this business. I mean, our chef absolutely incredible guy. But what got him the job is whenever he cooked for us, his family's involvement in him cooking for us that night, and then his interaction with his family is what got him the job. Like Brad and I are very people, you know. It's not so much like, oh, your resume is outstanding, I'm going to hire you. And so I think during that time, it was a neat time. I look back on COVID, and I love that we went through it. Like, it was pretty shitty. You know,
From a financial standpoint.
Yes.
Yeah. From a people standpoint, from a building standpoint, from a leadership standpoint.
Yeah.
It was a reset, total reset.
But apparently it was really financially beneficial for a whole lot of people. It's weird. How
Not
that's
us.
weird.
Not
Not
us.
just to clarify, not for us.
No.
No, we took it in the teeth,
I
but
will see your pandemic and raise you a tornado when opening.
well, that's
As I'm listening to them talk about their story, I'm like,
I feel
shit,
better
this is
about
very similar. Like,
Yeah.
every new business go
Yeah.
through this type of like act of God as you're trying to open.
I think it's something that, you know, I tell my own kids, I tell Josh's kids and anybody that'll listen. I say a lot of things, but it's either you can be easy or you can be worth it. Right?
That's right.
It goes for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think you don't understand the worth of what something can be until you're ready to get into the very difficult pieces of what it takes.
Yeah.
And Josh and I, we hammer on this a lot is people want to be an owner until it's time to do ownership.
Yeah.
Like when you're
Yeah.
up here
Yeah.
at 3 a.m. patching drywall to get your CO the following day.
That's right.
Right? Like you said something that, you know, I've admired about you guys. It is very much in line with how we're running both Commonwealth and any future ventures, is the importance of family involvement.
Right.
Because I came from the corporate world, and you guys did before MCO, came from the corporate world where the ring doesn't marry you to the company. You know, you could be walked out of the building on a Friday and, you know, bye-bye, see you later, appreciate what you've done for us. But I think that where we got really together is our families,
Yeah.
little kids, right? 10, 9 at the time, were very involved in all of those pieces, right? Whether it's unloading pallets of wood, whether it's cleaning sawdust on a Sunday.
Our kids are so tired of sweeping that thing.
all 10,000 square
But
feet.
talk about that for each of you, because I know your amazing wives are listening in the confessional next door. They're amazing.
That's a good caveat to set the stage. We are literally in the restaurant now,
Yes.
and we're next to. So when our eyes are moving, and like
Yeah.
it's just part of it. Okay, it's our fucking.
Go figure, they didn't want to shut down for
Yeah.
amazing wives.
Also, we didn't want to do it at 8 a.m. and start drinking that early.
Definitely
Yeah.
not. Not
Can
that
we first start drinking
Yes,
this?
we can.
Cheers, boys.
To the old Commonwealth division that you guys were very
To the golden rule and the good of the people.
Good of the people.
Cheers.
Appreciate you guys.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. That's a,
Are you going to start talking?
Nope. I'm just gonna say
I'm gonna
that's
rim
a
it with
different
Zine.
kind of burn than the
Yeah.
machete.
That's good.
But
Oh,
boy,
that's good.
that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Is it 108?
Oh, it is
You're going 102. On 102.
yeah, it's definitely a little hot.
131.
It's definitely a little hot.
We drink.
Wow.
Bottle number 80 at 250.
130.
You boys owe us a lot of money for that bourbon you drank.
I think you're chasing the 0.8. It's 131.8.
Oh, there it was. There it
The
was.
point is, it's on the top.
I had just the tip in my mouth.
Not the first time.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
something brown. That's fine. I'll let it die out later.
What did I say?
Yeah,
You make
that
a
is-
comment,
yeah.
and then
Too far.
Yeah.
What's fun is that it's all handwritten on here, too.
Is it really?
Yeah, it really is.
Oh my gosh.
yeah, oh, it is. I missed the sticker at the top. That's in bold
Cask
print.
strength.
It's
Yeah, there it is.
cask strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they knew what they were
Explain
doing.
it. Oh,
Yeah.
explain it.
I mean, they're trying to get us liquored up.
Yeah.
So
We
we
were-
were offer on their business.
Yeah, we were definitely drunk when we bought it.
Oh,
Because
100%.
otherwise we wouldn't
We
have
were
spent that
definitely
much
drunk when
money.
we were texting.
Yeah, we wouldn't have spent that much money on you guys otherwise.
Well, yeah, we know. We'll split it with you.
So
Like,
back to the
90,
important
10.
things,
Yes.
right? Your family super involved from the very get go.
Absolutely.
What are it's also not freaking leave it to Beaver, right? When you work with family, you know, and Josh and our brothers-in-law, and
I want to punch him more days than I do.
100%.
He's-
I do, too.
He's got a punchable face.
Yes, he did. Thank you, boys. I appreciate
Listen, if
that.
I wasn't the talent and everything, this guy.
Yeah.
please.
You're just pissed that today you had to help with pre-production.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
Normally,
I have
this
an
asshole
asshole
just
doing that
walks
shit.
in five minutes before we go on.
That's
But
what the
talk-
talent does.
talk about the role of your individual families, because I know you guys are close. Your families are really close, growing up together in a great town. But what does that look like when you put them to work? Because that's a whole different level of stress than rather talking about your days when you get home over family dinner.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so the first 6 months we were open at Mesquite Creek, he and I were there open and close every single day.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even leading into that was actually a short build out. It was how we rented that place in June and opened in November.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a lot of renovation we did there, but the family was there the entire time. My boy at that time was 3, so Brad's was 2 or 3, his youngest.
Yeah.
And they were all involved as much as possible. The wives were up there all the time. But if they didn't come up there, like we weren't seeing them. We were there before they got up, and we were there after they went to bed. And without their support, being up there to help and whatnot, we wouldn't have the relationship that we have now.
Yeah.
But also we wouldn't have the pride in what we've done together. Brad and I and his dad poured the entire concrete bar at Mesquite Creek. It was after we got a bid. I think it was $16,000 to pour it. We watched the. We Googled it or
YouTube videos.
We can do that.
We
can do that.
Yeah. And we literally we mixed on the back porch. I carried the first bucket in 5 gallons. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna carry 2.5 gallons from here.
5 gallons of concrete at a time.
We're doing 2 gallons at a time.
Yeah.
Executive decision.
Yeah, it was a lot.
But we have 2 other Mesquite Creeks. We poured those countertops too.
That's amazing.
That's the fun part about it.
What is it like?
Well, hang on. You haven't allowed them to finish the question about family.
Well, I
Does this.
was interjecting a family question because I'm
Then you were
curious.
going to tell a story and ask 6 more questions.
No, that's true. I'm curious to talk shit about our wives and what they'll admit to with their wives in the confessional.
No, I think the coolest part too, and Brad can speak more into this, because his oldest son Joe has worked his way up since he was 14, if that's legal.
13. No, it was completely legal.
Yeah,
He
whatever.
was very whatever the legal age was. That's
whatever.
when he
That's what it
started.
was. Yeah.
But our kids have never said we're the owner's kids. Most of the time people don't even know.
Yeah.
Joe's got a great story of someone telling him who the owner is.
Right.
And that's Joe's like, okay, yeah, that's the owner.
Yeah.
But they work their way up. They sweat and tears and all of that stuff too.
And you start them all in the dish pit.
Yes,
Which
of
you did
course.
with my oldest.
Yes.
Who's
Yes.
15, legal working age in the
Yep.
state of Texas.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, when they do that, number one, they're going to find the value of the money that they actually earn. But I still don't think you're probably paying Joe, even though he's worked here for 5 years.
Well, yeah, it's
Is
off
Joe
and
getting a
on.
paycheck?
It's off and on.
We had a conversation a couple of years ago. He's like, do you think we should start paying Joe? I'm like, we haven't been paying Joe.
It was one of the you guys get paid?
I feel like we need to have Joe on.
Yeah. Yeah, y'all probably should. Yeah,
When
he's
Joe turns
18.
20 when he turns
He's 18
21,
now.
though, when he turns 21,
Yeah.
we're going to sit with all of our kids.
Well,
that
I mean,
help build these
yeah.
things.
His first taste of bourbon was a
Allegedly.
Pappy. No, it's completely. It's Texas. We can do whatever we want, right?
As the
It was
guardian.
a Pappy
Yes.
15.
Such a good dad. His
Yeah.
first taste of
No, it was Cody.
Yeah.
Cody gave it to him.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was there.
We screwed him for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
It was Pappy, then it was double eagle, very rare.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Man,
Like his first 3 bourbons were,
Yeah.
$200 an ounce.
He's going to be chasing that for
Yeah.
the next 20 years.
Yeah. Well, it's probably mostly Bush Light right now. is
let
what
him
I'm
know
thinking.
that at A&M, they don't have that.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
Bush Light, Natty
Bush,
Light,
yeah.
the Beast,
So-
those kind of things.
We touched on the Joe situation a little bit. What about the rest of the family, your kind of experience?
Yeah. Well, the wives are super involved, right? Like Jordana, especially from day one, doing all the retail stuff at MCO, and Stacy was still working full time at the time that we opened MCO, and since stopped. And I don't know, maybe a couple of years ago, she was like looking at our operations as we started to grow from 12 employees to a couple hundred, and she's like, "What are you guys doing? Like this, you can't do that." And I was like, "No, we literally just did. We made a video about it. It's great."
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah. So, but it's amazing to work with your wives. It's also difficult because, like you said, like you get home and you don't want to talk about work anymore because that's what you've been doing all day. And like work just follows us home and we're laying in bed and it's just like, God dang, can we talk about something other than work?
Yeah.
You know? But it's awesome that we get to spend as much time with them as we want. And we all have separate offices, so like when we need to separate, we can.
Separation of churches.
Yeah. So, but no, it's awesome, and our company would not be where it's at without the two of them putting all their time and effort and talents into everything that we do.
But I also think that family environment is why our employee retention is like through the roof. Here, I think we've lost 4 or 5 people in the kitchen since the day we opened. That's unheard
Which
of.
is crazy for back
Yeah.
house.
Yeah. Well, we just lost Chef Juan. Not like he's still alive. He's still alive. He's still alive. Yeah.
I just thought that was the only thing that was separating him from y'all.
Yeah. Well, he had to make a family decision. He went to work for a corporate office in Austin, cooking there because it's a 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. job, so he can be home with the kids. And so we hated to lose him, but
you do
good
a
on
big
you
party for him. I mean,
yeah,
it
like
speaks to what you guys started.
good on Juan for making the decision for his family. But he told us afterwards, he's like, man, that was a really difficult decision.
Yeah.
And that's what we want, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a job at the end of the day, but hopefully people are looking back at working here or any of our places and are like, man, I worked at this place when I was 18 years old and I learned so much about life.
Yeah.
Not just how to make a cocktail.
Right.
Well, I'm sure you guys are like this too, but at some point in your job, you're not just a boss anymore. You're not a cook. You're more like a counselor.
Yeah.
And that's where I see us these days is, yesterday we sat in meetings till about 1:30 p.m. and it was counseling.
Yeah.
You got a lot of young kids and, we're very blessed in the environment we grew up in and our kids have grown up in, but not everyone else has that.
Yeah.
And so if you can encourage and you can show people, hey, it's okay, it's better. Like, we're going to help you through these things. And he and I, we have these big hearts that we have strike 2.9, 2.91, sometimes 2.991, and then sometimes we've learned that, man, the best thing is tough love.
Yeah.
We got to let them go. We got to let them leave this environment so that they can grow.
There's 2 principles that kind of learn and grow over the last 12 to 15 years of kind of building what we're doing is if you just take care of people. Like number one, if you just take care of people, doesn't matter if you're selling insurance, selling tires, selling food and drinks, liquid, whatever. If you take care of people, the rest of it's funny how it kind of takes care of itself.
Yep.
Like there's no issue. There's not like it doesn't matter what you're doing. People will love you, will appreciate you, even if you have to have hard conversations, even if you have to let people go.
Yeah.
Being able to see people that have parted ways, like in the grocery store, and not feel like you have to run the other way. There's so much to be said for that and doing business the right way. And it's awesome. Y'all, I haven't had a close connection with y'all, but even seeing MCO and here and Whiteside and River Ranch and Golden Burger, like all the other things that y'all are doing, no matter where I've been, people interact with you so well, and y'all know people's names, and you know people's families, and that speaks a lot to the brand that y'all have created. You might not call it a brand, but it is. And it says a lot for Georgetown. Whoever that damn city manager was like, well done.
He's David Morgan. He's still around. He's great. Yeah. I'm sure he gets paid too much money. I'm sure he gets paid too much money.
He's probably rich.
I think Josh is just kissing your ass right now, trying to knock a few bucks off the old Commonwealth.
Probably so. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Was that $4,000 or $5,000?
Yeah.
I feel like we're missing a zero. Honestly.
I don't. I feel like there's plenty of zeros in it. I think the testament that I can give, because I have known you a little bit longer, a little bit early in our lives, before this ever became an option for Josh and I to start, was I trusted you with my own kid.
Yeah.
His first job. And when you had to fire him, beat the shit out of him out back, I trusted you guys, and I think you see that what Josh is talking about through a lot of the parents whose kids you employ. Is the fact they're not just saying go get a job down. I was about to say Piggly Wiggly. R.I.P. Piggly Wiggly. Georgetown, 1990.
Yeah. Bells in the shop too.
I think Bells.
No way.
No.
Hell closed.
It closed. It's a gym. It's a gym now.
You're going to take one video?
First. You got to first.
first cafeteria, RIP Luby's. Like we could.
There's still one. There's still one. Yeah.
But I think for me, the biggest compliment I could give in business is I want my people to work there.
Yeah.
And that's where it became real, because you also showed him that, listen, you don't get to come in because I know your dad and be in a goofy position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
You want to
suffered
work?
in
Here's
the
a
dish
job.
pit.
Yeah,
for
he
a year
did.
and a
Yeah,
half
he
of
sure
life.
did. Yeah.
And realized that getting an education and learning, a trade or a skill is incredibly important. I want to dig into the dynamic of the partners.
Yep.
Because this is incredibly interesting to me.
Business partners.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong if it was different.
Let your flag
But-
fly and whatever that means. But I know you two are different. Josh and I are very different. I
Mhm.
think people, when they see us together, we're pretty aligned.
Yeah.
I think in the end goal and what we believe about certain things. But there are night and day bipolar differences in how we engage in business, how we do things, our process of doing things. How does that dynamic work? Like, especially maybe even going back to MCO days, like, who's going to do what? How did you decide that? When there's a big decision to be made, how much weight do you give to the other person, especially if you think you're right and they're wrong? Like, what's the dynamic to come with two buddies?
900 questions.
Yeah.
So just pick one of them.
Just pick one of those. Eight.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah. 27.
Here's to the yeses. Here's to the yeses.
Hey,
It's really good for 130.
It is.
I know.
I think we're very different, but we both understand we have the same goal, and so there's never any arguments about a decision that's being made. It's funny. There's like with our team, they know who to go to for certain things, right?
Yeah.
Mom and dad,
Like,
right?
yeah.
Each other.
So like a lot of times, Cody's dad and I'm mom.
Yeah.
And like that's okay. Like we understand.
Giver, taker.
But it
Yes.
flip
Well,
flops.
no, not no.
Wow.
Wow.
I didn't know about
That's,
You can say anything on YouTube. You can say anything.
I don't
on
think you
YouTube. That's
can.
fine. You can.
You didn't say no disrespect before you said it. So
Sorry. I should have said no offense. No
Yeah.
offense, but
Yeah.
respectfully, yes.
Yeah. But I think when we go into conversations, even when we have a differing opinion, we both know that we have the same goal.
Yeah.
And we call it the fighter squadron mentality, right? Like if you're a fighter pilot and you debrief a mission, you can talk about like, hey, here's where you almost killed me.
Right.
Here, and here. And it's not to point blame, it's to fix the problem so that we don't die in the future. And obviously our stakes aren't that high. Like we're serving food and drinks, like no one's going to die. But we have a common goal. Like after that debrief, then you go and have a beer at the squadron bar and everything is good. So, and there's no rank in the debrief room. So,
And
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and that's where like the 15-year-old hostess comes up to us and says, "Hey, you guys are idiots. This is how we need to do this." And we're like, "Put our pride aside. You're right." Yeah.
I'll be honest, I've never worked the host stand. So they probably have a whole lot more insight to it than I do.
You do have more of a face for back of house.
Yeah, no, I know. I cook. I've got cook hands. Like,
That's why us pretty boys wear
Yeah.
hats.
Yeah.
Throw out the beer.
I think it's because you don't have any hair, or
Allegedly. You know what's under
Your
his
hair
hat.
looks fantastic. I know mine does too.
yes, yeah. My
Interesting
forehead's
how that
getting
happens.
bigger.
Yeah, it's
But-
crawling back there. It's such an interesting thing to me, the dynamic, because now it's not just, hey, you're buddies and your family friends and your families are friends, and let's get into business together and see how that goes. And I think Josh and I shared a hot tub, do with that what you may.
Yeah.
And we said early on, listen, if business doesn't work, it can affect relationships, right?
Families.
Sure.
The business will go away.
Yeah.
Screw it. We'll do something else. But this is more important than the business.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that you say that, squadron, that fighter pilot kind of mentality, because, we do have very different roles, even at Commonwealth. You guys have different roles in all of the businesses. But it's so interesting to say there's no rank debriefing room. That is, because I think that Josh and I really focus when we're in front of anybody is alignment, because we know that our goals are the same. Even if that means our opinions may differ. And I think that's why we will succeed, is because we have balance through it.
Yeah.
And you realize that, listen, I'm better on this team than I am by myself or solo. And then other people bring things, the whole family, the right people, chef one, like, and the people, let's talk about that for a minute, because the people piece is so incredibly important.
Oh, it is.
And it's important to have the right people. It's important to know if who you thought were the right people weren't the right people. What do? You know, you're talking about strike 2, 0.9, 0.1, 0.3, 0.4, right? And all those things. Talk about those kind of hard decisions that you guys have to make together in this business, because much like us, this was your first restaurant project. Now you have 3 different restaurants, but not knowing the business until you kind of get into it.
Yeah.
What are some things that you've learned opening a restaurant, like when you started to where you are?
Yeah.
And maybe put this way.
Again, pick whichever question
Yeah.
you want to answer.
Where you started, where you are, what have you learned as a restaurant?
Can we get,
Or, you know, what
No.
can we get more cocktails,
Yeah,
please?
so, they're coming.
Yes. Okay.
I'm through with this.
Somebody send a text.
Yeah, no, you got double tahini. You actually got the tahini drink next.
I've heard that about you.
But what's funny, like kind of even go back to your last 17 questions ago,
Thank you.
and this last one, it always seems like one of us is up and one of us is down on that day, right? If I come in and I'm like, we got to get rid of so-and-so, I'm pissed, this sucks. He's like, you know what? I saw this, and this. And we always bring the other one up to it. And I think as the years have gone by, we also realize we don't fire people. People fire themselves.
That's 100% true.
100% true. And sometimes you prolong that firing because you believe in people too much. You know, and that's how we are. We're always going to believe in people. You know, like, oh, I saw this glimpse of hope.
Yeah.
And I guess as the years have gone by, we've realized that it actually is a good thing for them to leave too, and for us to go and part ways earlier on.
Yeah.
Because it sets them free. They can go do what they were actually supposed to go do. Well, we've let a lot of people go. We worked for a company for a little bit as consultants, and I think we left. We let 30 people go in the process.
It was a lot.
Of like
It was a lot, but it was all
Necessary.
necessary.
Yeah.
And so during all that time, like from the day I started work until now, probably the most people I've ever fired were in that time. But only 2 people left without leaving. Like, I was here for a reason.
Yeah.
This has been a blessing. I'm going to go do better things. Those other 2 people, I was like, they're going to punch me in the face.
Like
If I do see them in the supermarket, I'll walk the other way.
Yeah,
I'm going to be on the defensive.
Yeah.
Get close.
well,
Yes.
you know, I mean, sometimes getting fired is the best thing that ever happens to you, right? And because like you're not in the job that you're supposed to be in, and that's what we try to let them know. But I do think that that's probably. People is probably one of the only things that we sometimes have different viewpoints on, where like there's, you know, sometimes there's a person where I'm like, man, I just don't think they're a good fit. And Cody's like, no, that person's amazing. That's the future. And sometimes vice versa. Right. And I don't think anybody keeps score on how it works out, but it's like, okay, cool. If you think that person, like, I'm on board, then I'm going to try to shift my mindset to be positive on that particular person, because you know you can get to where you're negative on someone, and that's not fair to them.
And everything they do,
it is the smallest thing, right?
Or that positive, that hopeful mindset, where every little tiny thing they do good, you're like, yes,
look at that,
amazing, that's the best. It's amazing how over time, one of you will come to the other side. You will either both
for sure.
Fuck that guy. You were right. He's the worst. Or it's like, you know what? I'm really glad we talked about that, and I took a different perspective, because they have really come a long way in the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks or month.
Yeah, and I will say there are very few people where we've been like, man, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
And even in those few circumstances, it's like, fuck that guy, but like, you know what? I still love him.
Wish you the best.
Sure.
Like, and we're still going to be there.
Help them, you know, find the next,
we're
next thing is.
We're going through that right now.
Yeah.
Right.
With a kid and
what's his name? Just kidding.
You know what's funny is seeing the rest of the staff react, especially in hospitality, and this was news to me. Because when you have a guy in other businesses or whatever that you let stay on a little too long,
Yeah.
the damage that they can do in
100%.
too long
Yeah.
days. But in hospitality, for us, when we let people go that needed to be let go, the morale of everybody else around was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah, okay, this is a place where there is a standard, where there's not going to be this behavior allowed. Like they mean what they say. They're not just, giving lip service. And we've had a couple of those instances where,
Thanks, Brian.
yeah, it's hard to let people go. It's hard to have those conversations. But when you do, like the change that you see immediately, you're like, damn, I should have done this sooner.
Yeah. When people, I think it's a double-edged sword, right? Like sometimes you keep people too long, and it does bring everybody down. But then I think it's a benefit when people see that, like, we're really trying to lean into this person and speak into their lives. Like most of the people that are bartenders and servers here aren't going to do that for the rest of their lives.
Right.
So can we teach them life lessons while they're here? And that's the hard part. I think the other thing that we believe in is like that whole, the customer is always right. Like bullshit. Bullshit. Like I care so much more about every single person that works here than any customer that walks in this door.
Well, that's our job. Our job is
Right.
to take care of our employees.
Yeah.
Our employees' job is to take care of the people that come in.
Yeah, it's funny because that's one of our core tenets. We attribute it to if you get on an airplane for the first time with a kid and you actually listen to the flight attendant and they say, listen, if the cabin loses pressure and the masks drop down, as a parent, you need to put your mask on first.
Yeah.
Because if you're struggling trying to put that oxygen mask on a child or on a kid or whomever, and you lose consciousness, you're both screwed over. They don't say it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's much more PC about that.
Unless you're on Southwest, they take your liberties.
Yeah.
That's why I will always like
Somebody's going to
Southwest.
rap about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be harder because it's
So,
laid off like
that's-
30% of the people.
Damn it, we just watched that on the news. We don't know the story.
I don't know what
But
that is,
I think that's something I've always admired about all of the businesses. And again, I have an inside track because you hired my kid. There was no preferential treatment. But at the same time, because I know you guys, I know there's some life lessons going on that kids have to learn from other people. They can't be told to like mom and dad.
Sure. We talk about that all the time.
I don't know if this is today they're teaching us.
Hey, Cody's got to go have a conversation with Joe sometime soon. Because he's going to listen to certain
Joe
things from
gets fired for the
Cody.
sixth time,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah,
No, but it's so true.
it is.
They hear it differently from other, whether it's bosses or just other adults.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that both we've taken from you, we've learned in this whole thing that we set out to do from the beginning.
Yeah.
Is our kind of tagline has been for the good of the people, for the good and well-being of the people.
Yeah.
Well, that starts with your people. It
Yeah.
can't start with the guest.
Yeah.
Right. And meanwhile, somebody's working 60 hours, they're pulling 4 doubles in a row. They're dealing with shit at home that you have no idea about. If you don't care for your people, you'll never care about their job.
Well, that's something we do. We make all of our managers clock in and clock out because we don't want them to work too much.
Yeah.
We don't want them to work too little either.
So that's a good point.
Definitely, definitely an equilibrium.
We're going to be honest. We're being very honest here. Yeah.
I don't want our managers working 70, 80 hours a week. That's burnout.
It is.
Yeah.
Now, owners, it's fine. We don't have the time.
Okay, so I told you earlier, we were going to give an opportunity to talk about some drinks. Walk us through the first drinks that we had. When this those are gone.
Yeah.
Tell us what we
One
had.
had tahini on it.
Why this
Yeah.
Machetti got a lot of airtime.
Yeah.
It did. It did.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
This
Yeah.
design.
Easy gag reflex.
Freaking,
there.
I do.
Yeah.
Because of
Okay, so talk us through.
Okay, so that the piss off Pichetti
Yeah.
was Chet.
Yeah.
Chet Gardner.
Okay.
So he came up with that drink. I had a Chilton at first. I'm from West Texas, like that.
It's your
is
West
my
Texas
drink.
go-to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I had a double ugly, which is basically an old fashioned with an antique gin. So it's a gin that is aged in a bourbon barrel,
antique?
Waterloo.
Oh,
There we go.
And so the story behind that is like my dad is like a constant in all this stuff.
ugly, I guess. I'm kidding. I've seen her.
Have you
Your
met-
dad's a super attractive
Yeah,
man.
well, I
I
mean,
mean,
If
if
you
I
get
was
your
an old
first one
woman, I would.
yeah.
kick your ass.
So
There's no he built everything.
Yeah.
he
Yes.
did, and there's a lot of fighter pilot stuff in MCO. And when we were finishing this place, he's like, there's no airplane pictures, there's no powder pellet stuff. Like, what are you guys doing? He's not shy about like voicing his opinion on stuff. So we got this antique gin in. We're like, let's make an old fashioned with it and see what it tastes like. And it was awesome. And my dad really enjoyed it. So I was like, all right, Dad, here's what we're going to do. We're going to name this drink either your call sign or
Which was
Gator,
Gator.
or Double Ugly, which is a nickname for the F4, which is his favorite jet that he flew in the airplane or in the Air Force. And so he was like, I like the Double Ugly. So I don't think it's on the menu anymore, but he comes and he religiously orders that thing, you know, like probably because he feels like he needs to.
Of course.
But I'll remember this time forever. I mean, we were already 4 or 5 old fashions deep before he was like, this is good, but I want something different.
Yeah.
Antique gin in the old fashioned.
Yeah.
We're going to go past that a little bit more.
So it's
We do a bees knees with that exact gin.
Oh,
yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
And so it's very much a nod to my dad, and Stacey, my wife's dad, too. He flew F4s as well. So, yeah.
So what are we drinking now?
I have no idea.
Looks like a paper plane almost over there.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not.
Okay.
They're just showing off
These
now.
were dealer's
Yeah.
choice.
I
Is
think
there anything more fun than having bartenders, number one, that you can trust?
Yeah.
So number two, just say like, have fun, and they bring drinks, and you're like, this is fantastic.
And who's your guy that keeps coming out and delivering drinks to us?
So that's
Give him a
our manager, Brian.
Brian.
Brian, shout out Brian.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Brian.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Brian.
Brian's awesome.
Okay, so this segues perfectly into it's like I'm a professional podcast.
Okay,
This
damn it.
segues so perfectly into the next topic, which is how do you name your cocktails?
Oh.
Are you involved with
It's
the name?
important to say tails. Emphasis
Yes.
on the right syllable.
Yeah.
How do you name your cocktails?
We.
Or your
Nope.
cocktails.
Oh
Tails.
my God, here we go.
I got 2 different answers. I don't know which question am I answering.
Tell me you don't have a name for it. I'm just saying.
So,
How do you name in your bar your cocktails?
And also,
we let bar managers do it primarily. So here, a lot of them are like songwriter.
Like lyrics or names
yeah.
or odes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At Camp Brightside, a lot of them are sort of outdoor themed, I guess.
yeah. Which would lead you to summer camp. that
Yeah,
kind of-
yeah. So Mike and Nina and Kaysen really kind of name them all, and they always come up with amazing
Awesome name.
stuff, like just fun. Early days, the Pissed Off Machete and the Double Ugly and stuff. That was us.
Yeah.
We let them kind of do their thing now, I guess.
Well,
I don't know.
that's one of the things. Like you get out of the way. You hire the right person for the job.
Yeah.
Then you get out of their way. So
Yeah.
micromanage.
I want to give them the freedom to have some ownership in it. And
For sure.
they take pride in the fact that like they created something,
Yeah.
they named something,
Yeah.
and they have people who care enough about them to let them have that freedom
That's right.
and to do that.
See, inversely,
Okay.
Inversely, Jared's a
Inversely.
control freak.
I am. No.
Just kidding.
We would never say that I am a control
He's
freak.
I am. No, wait.
Wait,
I would say I'm not a control freak, except that it's my favorite part of the job is naming cocktails. Like it is just my favorite, absolute part of the job. Now we take things in consideration: who made it, what's the story behind it, why did they make it, what
Who's
ingredients
named
are in it,
after?
who's it named after, is it a derivation of some other cocktail? I knew that word, derivation.
I don't think that's really a
Derivative is
derivative.
It's
Yeah,
derivative.
yeah.
See
what I put up with every day.
By the way, still the top SAT score in my house. That tells you how dumb my paper bars.
Other than Corbin, I guarantee Corbin can kick your ass.
He kicked his ass, but it doesn't count because of the PSAT.
I was trying to talk there. You kept cutting him off.
It's fine.
Yeah, no, come on. Let's just hear. Let's just get it
I'm
out
not
of your
going to ask 58 other questions now. I feel like I'm.
get it out of your system.
So you're getting what?
Did you know that you can call Canadians pigeons and they don't like it?
Hey, this is a work in progress. We heard like there was a hockey video that we were watching where the guys were
Oh, they whooped their asses like
yes. The ref came over and said, hey, Brad, hey, you can't say pigeon. You can't call him a pigeon.
Yeah.
That's over the line. And
Yeah.
Brad's like, okay. And then I was like, Jared, is that a bad
That's a
word
real
for
thing?
Canadians?
Yeah.
No, I think it is, but we don't know why.
But I don't know if the ref was just
Oh.
being funny with them But like, why would he have said that? I think it's literally we need the bear.
Yeah.
We
On
do.
the
We need
podcast, we have a guy with a computer that Googles shit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll come back. We'll circle back.
By the way,
Get Stacy and Jordan on it.
next time you guys are in Commonwealth, we're going to have a drink named the Pigeon.
And then we're gonna fight.
Or
as
like-
we're drinking it.
Exactly.
Or is
Or
it
like the dirty pigeon or something. Like,
See, this is how the best drink
Yeah.
names come about.
That's right.
I can tell you multiple drinks on our menu we made while just like giving a bartender creative freedom. Hey, do something that's got this in it. The Pretty Little Liar is one that I'm particularly fond of because one of our members, a lady who will tell you what she thinks at all times.
I love it.
If
You
she
don't
hates
have
a
any of
drink,
those,
she will
I'm
tell
sure.
you.
No.
If she loves it, she'll tell you. And she was like, hey, I really want to try.
She said she wanted a tequila drink with amaretto. Those two things
Tequila
don't go
drink
together.
amaretto. So we were like, okay. So we tasked our bartender to, okay, get creative. Do something with these. You better have a drink that's freaking fantastic.
Still on the menu today.
And she was like, oh my God, this is great. And we're like, okay, you're pulling our leg.
Yeah.
And she's like, no. So we all tried it. And we're like, damn. So then we tried to figure out, then the naming process starts. Okay, well, what do we call it? And then you came
Well,
up
it's like it sneaks up on you a little bit.
Mhm.
It kind of lies to you that it's so good it probably doesn't have alcohol in it.
and it's pretty, but it will mess you up. It's got amaretto and tequila in it.
We have to get to this question. Can you?
Okay.
I have to squint. I still can't see what the red timer says.
Okay.
101.
Probably way
101.
too long.
No,
Way too
101.
much.
It is an
Oh,
hour
okay.
in progress. We are at 1:08
Yep.
p.m.
There we go.
Okay.
We're good. So I have to ask this question because I look forward to what our answer will be 5 years later after this opening day.
Oh gosh.
What
Yeah.
would 2025, and I want you each to answer, okay? What would 2025, Brad and Cody, what would they say to 2018, Brad and Cody,
Mhm.
when they heard, hey, we're thinking about opening this restaurant in Bourbon Bar?
No, that's easy for me. Do it.
Yeah.
Like fail, succeed, do all the things because it's made us who we are. And like we are super humble people and we will tell you like we are not the smartest people in the room ever.
Well,
But we,
this
I mean,
Well, yeah, no.
clearly,
but we hire amazing, wonderful people that have influence in our lives. And I think that we're sitting here right now and we're able to, I think we have 260 employees now.
across all the restaurants.
Across all the restaurants. And our job now is not to necessarily, I asked them the other day, why don't we just stop with Golden Rule? And the answer is because we don't have the influence. If we just stopped there, we wouldn't have the influence on all of these other people that we could have to show them what work looks like. So go through all the struggles, go through all the heartaches, go through all the shitty times, and it's all worth it. That's what I would tell them.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that, hey man, do this because that part sucks and you can get here a lot faster. No, because I wouldn't be who I am right now without that
Yeah.
horrible, shitty part of it. So
God, what a life lesson,
Yeah.
too. Good luck, Brad.
no, like we joked around earlier about like the
Don't
first
do it.
answer is always don't do it.
Yeah.
But no, Cody's right. Do it. Take that risk. Like we have risked everything financially. Like,
Yeah.
so not the real important stuff, not the family stuff, but we've risked everything financially multiple times. And sometimes it's worked and sometimes it hasn't. And that's all right. But you got to take that risk. Like, otherwise, what are we doing?
Right.
You got to live a life worth
Yeah.
living, right?
that's right.
So, like, I don't want our legacy to be some restaurants in Georgetown. I want our legacy to be people who have worked with us and them looking back, like I said earlier, looking back like, man, some doctor, Trevor
Yeah.
Baum, like looking back as he's
Former bartender at MCO.
curing
Medical school
cancer.
right
He
now.
like, this kid's going to cure cancer someday. And like, I want him to look back and be like, there was something about working there
Yeah.
that influenced me. And then the other thing I will say is pay the money to get good drawings from an architect and an MEP, because holy shit,
Yeah.
if
Change
you,
orders
if you
are
don't
expensive.
have that, change orders are going to ruin your life.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the funny thing for me is I thought being friends with you guys, helping out in some specific ways with Golden Rule. And when Josh and I, kind of had this dream going on that beach in Mexico, I'm thinking, okay, I've learned some lessons from watching these guys for the last few years. And I was like, we're not going to fucking renovate anything. If anything, we're going to do it cheaper by building it ourselves from the ground up. Josh,
How'd that work out for you?
How did that go?
Way cheaper.
How did
Way
that
cheaper.
go?
Yeah.
Way cheaper.
But to Cody's point, it's worth it.
Yep.
Maybe not right now.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see in the moment.
Maybe not 8 months in,
worth
but
it.
8 years in. And to y'all's point, the people, the lives that you impact. I tell my kids every day, hey, my goal is to live differently and impact the life of those around me.
Yeah.
That's it. And if that's my goal,
It's real simple.
I can literally achieve that every single day.
Yep.
And it impacts things way bigger than myself.
Yeah.
And so you may not want to necessarily go through all the shit, but it's worth it. It's not easy,
It's not easy.
but it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Take that ball back.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. Seriously, shit.
Yeah.
I think it's so gratifying. Like, I tell people all this time, go watch the very first episode of On Bar. They said, like, for me, I spent 27 years in the corporate world, working for somebody else, making money for somebody else. And it was real easy. I didn't have any buy-in. My family didn't have any buy-in. So once I clocked out, I was out. It was fine. It was a life of contentment, but it wasn't a life of fulfillment.
Yes.
And as both an entrepreneur, as being this guy's business partner, there is a fulfillment that comes from your goal being to impact people.
Yeah.
And my biggest, and I'm going to ask you guys this, okay, so this is my tease.
Okay.
My biggest piece of advice to the people out there wondering should I start a restaurant, should I start a bar, should I start a business, should I start a title company, should I start a law firm, should I start whatever, is can you impact people when you do it? Right? Because no matter what you start, it's going to be difficult.
Yep.
As easy and as spooky as that dream may be, the funny thing about the dream is the result. And our result has never been to be millionaires or make money.
Good thing.
God bless you, the truth. Our goal is to impact the lives of the people. The result of what will be at the end of that comes from those types of benefits. But the goal is, can we impact the lives of people? And we're just stupid enough, like you guys are, to think we can do that. Every person who walks up to the bar, for every person that brings their family to eat, for every lawyer that has some business meeting over there in the side room, from every event that happens at the holidays, is we're just dumb enough to think that we can impact the lives of people through a restaurant and a bar. So what's that piece of advice? If there's somebody out there and they have this dream in their head, and they're probably a lot younger than any of us are, and
way less gray.
I hope they're having dreams younger.
We didn't have this much gray when we all started.
No.
Not at all.
I have pictures of you
Holy
like,
cow.
before this whole thing.
Yeah.
So what, Cody, we'll start with you. What's your piece of advice for that next generation of believers, of dreamers that are toying with the idea, should I quit everything and put everything on this?
Yeah.
What's your advice?
No, you've got to go for it. At the end of the day, you're going to look back in your life and you're going to say, what did I do with it? Right? Do we do something to look back and say, look at all we have, or look at the impact that we've made? Mm-hmm. And I would rather look back and say, look at the impact we made on all of these people, including ourselves. There's there's going to be a lot of hard days, and that's just how it is. And there's going to be a lot of
Expect them.
days where you're paid last. There's a saying, leaders eat last. And I truly believe that. And I talk to the kids about that all the time. Like, leaders always eat last. Like, if you go to a barbecue with me, I'm going to eat last. I'm going to make sure everyone else
is fed.
Yeah. And that's just part of it.
Josh and Brad are there for seconds. Cody and I are in the back with our hats.
Clearly.
We're at the
Clearly.
bar hanging out.
Looking good.
Looking good.
Looking
That's why they
good.
have some little hair. It's
Yeah.
malnutrition.
Yeah.
Part could be very true.
Yeah.
Come on, fit at 50, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, that's for me. That's what it's about.
Brad?
I would echo that, but I'd also say, like, when you put money second or third or fourth, and say like, I'm going to chase this thing and I'm going to do good and I'm going to work my ass off. And you're not worried about money. I think that's why we work so well together, because we're either going to get rich together or we're going to get poor together. And it doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, we'll figure it out. But when you're not putting money first and you're putting people and your mission first, then all that other stuff will fall in line.
Yeah.
So
And it doesn't mean that you won't fail.
Right.
Right? Like
Yeah, of course.
That's still the ultimate
Yeah.
risk, but you're going to fail for the right reason.
Yeah.
Well,
If it ever happens.
and I grew up differently. We grew up with hardly anything, right? And so I've had to kind of claw my way throughout my entire life, pay for my own college, get into a career to where it's 100% commission. We went into
Sold jets.
That's something, but it's 100% commission, so it's sink or swim. You know, and this is the first job I've ever had where I was able to relax, enjoy, but I would do nothing different, right? I would go through all of that, all of the struggles to get to where we are today.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like, I want to show our kids that they can actually go out now and do what they want to do instead of what they have to do. There was a lot of jobs. In college, I worked 2 or 3 jobs just to be able to pay.
Well, you have to
for
pay
college.
rent. You have to pay
I know.
tuition, books, etc. Yeah.
You know, the best and worst thing ever was my dad decided when I turned 18 and I was supposed to go to Texas Tech, and I had a half scholarship to go there. And he said, I can't be a farmer anymore. I've got to declare bankruptcy, and I'm going to go back to school. Well, we couldn't afford Texas Tech, and so I went to the same school my dad went to, which was amazing. He was on my flag football team. He was awesome.
This is a whole nother podcast.
Seriously.
You
Cody
gotta
and
get
his dad in college together.
We got to get G-Paw in here for this.
It was amazing.
How did we wait until an hour and 20 minutes in to get to Cody and his dad?
Yeah, no, it's
It's
great.
something
It's
I
great.
never knew.
It's awesome. Yeah.
You think you know somebody.
I love it.
After all these years.
Best thing that ever happened to us, right? It brought our family so much closer. He found his passion in life. He was the first Hertz ever that came over from Germany that wasn't a farmer. And he found his passion in X-ray technology. He's now in the Hall of Fame, in which there's one of those in Texas.
Of course there is.
Yeah, of course there is.
Yeah.
But that led me like down the path that I'm on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it's work hard. But at the same time, I had to make some choices that I don't want my kids to have to make, right? I've got to go work these jobs. I've got a job in college that was horrible. It was a mental health associate at Brown School, right? So you're in this group of
A lot of jokes to be made about the Brown story.
I know.
Please don't.
I'm not.
I knew he was going
Okay.
to say about
Thank
the
you.
health associate,
Yeah.
but wow,
Nope, the Brown
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
he went dark.
Yeah.
So you got these kids that are underage that should be in prison somewhere because of what they've done, but because of their mental health, they have to go to this place. It's a simple locked-in facility, super dangerous. But I was like, God, $10 an hour and 2 meals, I'm in.
Of course.
You know, smallest guy there. I've seen people almost beat to death. It's the worst thing ever. But that's what I had to do. So if this job right here, what we're doing right now, can provide our kids to get to do what they want to do, like, that's amazing. Like, they're not entitled, and that's the best thing about our kids. is-
Ooh, that's a big keyword for Josh.
Oh,
Yeah.
He hates the
You better not
entitlement
be
piece.
excited.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Amen. All of our kids. And I don't think we have to worry about it until our youngest kids get up there.
Youngest ones, we might have some issues
Because
with.
they would
Yeah.
have
Both of your youngest.
Yeah,
they have different lives.
Yeah.
older kids.
I don't know
Yeah.
who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
There's definitely some ass whoopings coming for the younger
Oh,
ones.
this is a whole
Yeah.
other conversation for another podcast, maybe. But it's the generational wealth versus the first generation wealth.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's not really even wealth. Like, how do you measure success? Is it money?
Yeah.
Not really.
Mm-mm.
Not for us.
No.
But it's having the mentality that y'all have and that we have. It's like, you know what, if we fail, but we fail and we still have our family, like, we'll figure shit out.
Yeah.
Like, we'll go live under a bridge together.
That's
Yep.
right.
And then like we built the first one, we'll build the second one or a fourth one or a 10th one or however many times it takes. But it's like I've seen people firsthand with generational wealth that don't know how to fish. They've literally been given fish their whole life. They have no fucking clue how to go catch fish.
Yep.
And when that dries up, they're like, I'm going to starve to death.
Yep.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when you're in a mode where you're like, hey, I'm going to go make shit happen, Like, yeah, I'll make it happen tomorrow and the next day and the next day and as many days as it takes.
That's right.
And you can live fearlessly because you're like, yeah, if it all fails tomorrow, okay.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I've been there
We've
multiple
been
times.
like
probably.
multiple times
Yeah.
in like probably the last couple
Today.
of months.
I mean, figure it out. But
Yeah, I mean, our wives are sitting over there right now, going like, yeah, we gonna, are we
Like,
we
you
putting
guys
the,
at work today?
yeah,
Yes.
they're like, hey,
Yeah.
they're like,
We had this conversation.
yeah,
On the drive up here, we had this conversation, Cody, and it was like, you know, I know our wives are thinking, oh, you're gonna go hang out with Brad and Cody at Golden Rule,
yeah,
the best place for cocktails in Georgetown.
get an Uber.
Okay, Josh and I are like, yes, this is work.
we're going to work. This is what building a brand looks like.
This is
People,
okay. You're learning it here, folks.
Yeah.
Right now, this is what building a brand looks like. I'll tell you, it's interesting because we've all been, and you guys have been the fishing guides, but we've been on guiding fishing trips where the person, shout out Mendoza, Dylan Mendoza. He fishes the Guadalupe. So he's on a paddle boat. You're flying the rapids, and then he goes down to South Texas and fishes for reds, all those things. But I'll tell you
All
what,
fly rods.
all fly rods.
I love it.
But this is what's interesting about the connection both you guys made is it's different being the fishing guide than it is being the fisherman who hired the fishing guide.
Yeah.
And I think we are in the world of fishing guides where our fun is seeing other people catch the biggest fish
Yeah.
they've ever caught.
Yeah.
And our work is we don't get to do any of the glorifying things. We don't get to catch, we don't get to reel, we don't get to cast. We're baiting poles,
Mhm.
right? Like we're doing all that knot tying bullshit. And I still don't know how he does it on a moving with a small, tiny fly. But it's so incredibly cool to hear you guys say that. And it comes from knowing you guys for quite a long time and knowing your families and why you're in this business. And it's a huge inspiration on both Josh and I. I think both as business partners because Josh has never had one. And the
This is the first thing I've ever done with a partner, and boy, am I ready
And as you can imagine, the first one that he does have is this.
And
guy.
you-
Oh man, God
Yeah,
bless.
exactly.
We're
Like,
questioning your life decisions
Exactly.
right now.
But there's a special place in heaven for him for sure.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, we're gonna keep it exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There will never be a dull moment. That doesn't mean all the moments are super easy and gratifying and money making. We haven't come close to that part yet.
No.
At some point, though.
At some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, we'll achieve the goal long before we get to the making money part.
Yeah.
And that's the part that and it is the reason. We joked about you guys being second, third, fourth, fifth choice, everybody. No, you're a first choice.
Because you share the mission, you do it
You
for the
really
right
do.
reasons, and y'all been successful as a byproduct, not as the main goal. So on that point, talk a little bit about y'all are pretty involved with Veterans Outdoors.
Yes.
We would be remiss if we didn't talk about that just a little bit. Tell us about how you got started in that, kind of what you do now with that, and that type of deal, because people may not know.
Largely reflected at MCO by all the trophies.
Yes.
And River and Ranch with the biggest
Oh.
freaking elk I've ever seen in my whole
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
It's a giant. No, so back in 06, my brother-in-law was in Iraq, and he had a couple of buddies that got hurt really bad. And so to help them get through rehab faster, he said, "Hey, as soon as you get through this point, cocktails, yeah,
This is setting a record for
Yeah.
this pod.
yes,
Setting a new record. And tell me your name again.
Ryan.
Brian Thurston. Brian Thurston. Hey, thank you so much
Dude,
for
Ryan's done a
serving
great
us.
job.
Ryan's
You
crushing
guys
it.
come to Golden Roll just for Ryan.
Yeah.
Dude is always wearing
Yeah.
a smile. He has no clue who's paying for these drinks yet.
I like how we switched. Everybody got a little something
Yeah.
different. I love it.
Yeah. Okay.
I love it."
Okay, so
So yes, back in 06, brother-in-law in Iraq. I'm in the jet business at that time, selling corporate jets. I probably have a silver suit, right? A gray suit that's a
Ooh,
little bit
man.
shiny.
little thin
Yeah.
stripes on it.
Yeah.
Watch out now.
I am
Yeah.
super important, right? And so he called me and says, "Hey, my buddy's got better. It's time for us to take him on a trip." And it kind of put me out. I was like, "Oh, God, seriously? Like, I don't want to do this on a weekend. I could sit by the pool, could do something else." And I show up, pull down my tailgate. This guy comes up to me. I'm unloading my stuff. He goes, "Need a hand with your baggage?" I'm like, "Sure." Hands me a prosthetic arm and goes, "Hope that helps." Walks off. I'm sitting there like this. All right. Right?
Oh.
But
That's a different level, dude.
Yeah,
That's
there's
a
a
different
level.
level.
And I'm like, all right,
That's a
Jack
level.
Wagon.
Yeah.
But it was sitting around the fire that night. There's a young kid next to me. He's 21, double-leg amputee, and he was so excited about life. He was so positive. How are you guys gonna get me into the blind tomorrow so I can shoot this animal? And how can I do this? And he was so excited to learn how he could do the same stuff that he loved in a different way.
Yeah.
And so we go up there, climbs up this blind, takes a while, shoots this animal. He outruns me to the sheep after he shot it. And his outlook on life was so positive, it was a slap in my face. It was, your mom didn't raise you to be this guy. I'm so pretentious. Like, this is a grounding moment. And what I saw with him therapeutically, spiritually, physically, like the healing, I also saw in here. And so for me, it was like, how can I do this more? Not only for that guy, but for the people that donated this, but for me. And Brad was working in Houston at that time, and as soon as he heard we were doing this, he was like, I'm in. Like, I'm in. And he moved this direction as soon as he could to be a part of Better Outdoors.
Yeah.
And since then, we've taken 7,937 men and women on trips, or we've helped in some way to put garage doors on or send them to Disney World to reconnect as a family. Because what we've found now is that the need for teaching them to be, hey, you're okay physically, you can still do the things. What we found now is you need to reconnect as a family.
Yeah.
You need to start building relationships and memories with your kids. And so we've gone from 435 people a year to about 45 people a year to reconnect the families.
Yeah. More about learning how to be a husband and a dad or a mom and a wife again, you know, after being deployed and fighting war for
That's
20
something
years.
that we can't even imagine. Like
Right.
and Josh's dad, Lieutenant Colonel Pearson, thank you, shout out
Colonel Pearson.
Colonel Pearson.
Don't
Sorry.
do not
Don't do it.
call him the light
By the
colonel.
way, I call him Colonel. I don't know why I just said that. Anyways,
Yeah.
Black Hawk
Hey,
pilot,
listen,
like,
3 strikes later, he doesn't care. He's happy to be here. So
but
Mm.
it's something that has been cool, and it's one of those moments because I mentioned early on in the pod that a large part of why we love the community bar, the watering hole, if you will, is because my wife and I had time. She was an educator at the time. We had an hour a week that we would spend with MCO.
Yep.
And you never knew it. You never knew me. You didn't know her. But we would spend it in MCO because at the time after she got out of school, before we had kids' activities, and it was the one time that she and I could talk at Mesquite Creek. But it was cool because then I started asking, like, seriously, is there one guy that keeps, because there's dead animal heads everywhere. And
A
it's
lot of carnage.
is there one guy like I want to go meet this guy? Go. And then I learned, obviously learning about you guys before you ever knew. Like, listen, some of these mounts are deployed veterans. They don't have any place to keep them. It is just cool because it represents these things that you're taking with Veterans Outdoors, and it's a very visible representation of the good that you're doing that nobody really knows about. And that I think to both Josh and I are like, listen, man, is there a collaboration eventually in the future? Because I know we're all 4 of us are stupid enough to do something together that could change the world. But it's like, wow, we had to get down here. We had to talk to Brad and Cody because they're very like-minded in the way they approach things, but also in the why. And that is the most important to me is the why, not the what, not the where, not the who. No, it's the why. Why are we doing this all in the first place? And some people may come here just thinking, hey, it's just a restaurant. It's a good restaurant. Have a good cocktail, good food. This is great. I'll move on down the street to the next one. And that's all they'll ever know about.
Yeah.
And that's great. I hope a lot of those people keep frequenting all
Yes,
of our
please.
businesses.
Yes, please.
Please come. There's online reservations available.
Yes.
Both the websites right
Yeah.
now, whether you're in Dalton, Texas, Temple, Texas, or Georgetown, Round Rock, etc. But it's so gratifying to know the story behind the story. And I think that's what Josh and I set out to do with this. I think that there is a camaraderie. And I'm not going to call it a locker room because I do hope that there's women bar owners, women restaurant owners, women business owners that I know we're going to interview in the future. But it's own a bar, they said. And the reason we want this channel is we need a platform because everybody just thinks It's all butterflies and roses.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all must be making a killing.
Oh,
Hey,
There's
your
got-
parking lot is full every
We've got
Friday and
this so
Saturday.
rich, so
Brad,
rich.
Your parking lot is full
Yeah.
every Friday, Saturday. It's
Yeah.
fantastic, guys. You're making millions.
Mhm.
No. If you knew the margins on food and beverage, you would
Yeah.
know that's not an accurate
That's the
statement.
reason we started the restaurant and the retail store, so we can buy it for a discounted price.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's exactly the
Yeah.
reason for
Yeah.
that. I can't thank you guys enough. Can't wait till the camera's off either, because it needs to be a connection. I'm gonna throw down though a gauntlet challenge to these guys.
If there's a
I've
financial
waited.
implication, you need to talk to the CFO first.
Okay,
I've learned I have to make
Are you the
this caveat.
CFO? Is Kerry
He
the
is.
CFO?
I am the
Okay.
CFO.
no, Carrie's the speaker, not the same. Carrie is just like him.
Okay.
Carrie and I are very aligned.
Listen,
This
my
looks
back
good.
hurts
So
for
whatever that
carrying the weight
costs.
of
It is a beautiful-
and the business.
it is a beautiful
Financially.
restaurant.
You
Yeah.
stole that statement from me. That's what I say every time. I
All
walk
right,
in the
lay it
house.
down. Let's
Yeah.
hear it.
Here's the gauntlet.
You get frustrated just like I do. Quick him talking on.
Yeah.
He doesn't say anything. He just says a lot
Hey.
of words.
Normally
Oh,
for
you
these
did land the
guys,
plane.
I've been behind the camera every
Yeah.
time. I videoed for the most part when I was with
You
you
have a
guys.
face for a cameraman.
For me, now knowing that I carried the franchise, with the hat, the face,
Oh,
The short franchise.
the Asian eyes, I need a little both.
and the humility too. And the humility.
Or I meant Oriental. It's a better.
It's better.
So here's the gauntlet.
I can only do pictures.
So we do have another live pod. We are not going to do that to you guys. Called Watch Us Drink for the restaurant specifically.
Yeah.
Okay. I challenged Josh about 5 weeks ago because I was largely inspired by Bert Kreischer, my favorite comic, and his friends, Lesson with the Boys,
Which I've been told I look like.
you
Do
do.
you look like Bert Kreischer?
You need to be much fatter. You
No,
need to
I'm
be a little
working.
more
Have
Brad.
you seen without the shirt on?
Much fatter, much darker.
Yeah, if you took a shirt off right now, then I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in. It actually would happen. It would
I
happen.
don't know if viewership go up or down, but I'm here for the.
Okay, let's get to the what
Here's the
are we
gauntlet.
doing here?
Here's the gauntlet I'm laying down. So I challenged Josh, and it could be great internet content on its own. Me against Josh. We have already a pentathlon of events between us.
Pin is.
You have until the end of March to train. But what I'd like to propose today,
There's no way they agree to this.
is it's a us against them.
Well, now you're going to be on my team. You've been talking shit about how you're going to win.
As soon as
Now you're
As soon
on
as
my team.
pre-production talks that Brad said Cody is the rager in their dynamic, I was like, I have a rager too.
Yeah.
Also, you have a little bit of a red hue.
He does.
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
super
He's
red.
closest
I
to
don't
the
know
light.
why.
Yep,
It just
yep,
happened.
yep.
It's
Okay,
fine.
all
I
right.
rub
People
it
are
out.
like, why'd your face so red?
Yeah.
Because God.
I'm like, hey, why are you so ugly?
What do you want me to say? Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
let's hear it,
Here you
Jared.
go.
God
I'm laying down
dang.
the gauntlet. April Fools.
I love that Brad is getting so pissed at
Yeah.
you because you won't let him play.
And Josh has been with me for a long time.
And I'm getting red.
So here we go. Yeah. Both the Ragers
Yeah.
are looking at
There are
us.
5 events. The
Yeah.
first is a beer mile.
Okay. But
We're instantly out. I know.
No,
I'm in on the beer mile.
Here's
I'm in on the beer
But
mile.
here's the thing: the loser has to take the 5th beer. So you finish
Okay.
right.
All right.
So you chug a beer. It
Yep.
can be your choice because for me, Twisted Tea's count. There's still 5% alcohol
Has to
by
be
volume.
5% or more alcohol.
5%
5%. I was
alcohol.
shaking my head when you
Yep.
said that too.
Brad's like,
Wait a
fucking
second.
Guinness.
Twisted Tea?
It's 5%
Hey,
alcohol.
this is a whole new episode, dude. Twisted Teas
Okay.
and me.
All right.
I'm waiting for them to sponsor. this.
Well, on the boat, I will
okay.
admit.
We're in the
Yeah.
garage
Yeah.
mowing.
It's not a
Yeah.
Twisted
Okay.
Tea mile.
It's
All
not.
right. Yeah.
It's
not
not.
But it's a beer mile.
You pick your 5% or more. You can pick. Okay.
Well,
So
what
this
if I want a
is
Miller Latte?
Josh and I
Do it.
against Cody and Brad.
Okay.
Okay. So the first one was a beer mile.
Okay.
Was the second one lawn darts? I feel like you had lawn darts.
There was
in
a
there.
field goal kicking.
Okay.
Because he's a soccer player
I'm
and I'm
in.
a football guy.
I'm in.
Hey, soccer. Yeah.
Well, he's a
Man.
tennis pro. Let's not get it wrong, people on the internet. Brad is a tennis pro. Okay. His dad was a fighter pilot, but he was a
We're
tennis
definitely not playing pickleball, man. Screw that.
No, dude, we can
If you
fucking
have-
take them.
If you have a
That's the
tennis
fifth, that's the
background,
5th one.
Dude, they have 5 restaurants.
yeah.
We have 1. We have more free time, which is 0 than that. Okay, just so you know.
Laugh at all.
So one was a field goal kick.
I'm in.
We don't even know how many
Yeah.
events there are actually.
No, no,
because we were kicking
That's
this
true. I
camera.
set a pentathlon. One is
Yeah.
one is a true soccer ball for distance, but it has to stay within the realms
In-
of the
It's like
I'm
a
in.
long drive champion, but with
In.
soccer.
Okay, yeah, I know
Yep.
him.
The other one is golf simulator, long drive at
Okay.
Commonwealth.
Okay.
Yeah,
In.
okay.
Cody.
Yep.
Well, no,
You're
I
still
don't know.
in?
I don't know. No.
Yeah. In.
Yeah.
In. We're in on all of this.
Brad's- oh,
Okay.
Hey, verbal contracts reminding me to say
That's
Texas,
true.
so says my attorney.
That's true.
Shark.
We
Please
said
say
it
it.
wrong.
We haven't heard the fifth yet.
The
I
fifth
don't even know if we know the fifth.
drinking
There was-
contest.
there was
Who
one
can
that was
take down a
formal.
case of natties first?
Oh.
Oh, no.
Oh, a
No.
chase to the case. Is that what?
Case, it was a case race. It was a case,
Case
race.
race.
Okay.
That's what your 15-year-old dishwasher, my
Yeah.
oldest son now, who's 19, if you didn't know,
Yeah. No.
succeeding
Love
at
him.
AT at A&M, ATM.
Love 'em.
Sitting at the
Yeah, definitely is an
Just
ATM.
make sure you're not in my head.
Yeah.
One of them was the cornhole ball sack challenge. Okay, so
I
here,
have vetoed this.
no,
Okay.
it's if we're against other people. Here it is. So, as a man, you lay down flat. You put the cornhole board over your
Gym.
bottom half.
No.
So
So
if
not
somebody
if
airmails
the
it,
opposite
you take
team
one square
airmails, we
giblets.
take a square.
Out on it.
None of us are having any more kids.
Yeah. No,
if
I'm not on
anything,
that.
this helps us. All of us. Trust me. If anything,
This is the
cornhole,
worst idea on podcasting
Yeah.
industry ever.
cornhole.
So I have
Dig
dig
bags.
bags, the cornhole bag.
Yeah.
We're all dumber after hearing that.
this. Like,
Yeah.
I am the wrestling happy Madison Chief whatever. So all I need to
Everything
know,
else we're in.
all I need
Yes.
to know,
Verbal,
An ice
yes.
cube,
verbal.
Work.
a buffalo,
Is it
live
verbal,
horse
yes?
stuff, preferably stuff for safety sake.
Did you just say this horse stuff now?
No. I was quoting Billy Madison.
Okay, okay.
Involves some minor and an ice cube,
Yeah.
a buffalo, live horse stuff, preferably stuff for safety sake.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
So right now we have on camera in front of the internet verbal acceptance.
Verbally.
Verbal acceptance from Cody.
We're in.
That instead of it's a you versus me, it is now an us versus
When is this happening?
the very beginning of it. We're going to do it
Okay.
on April Fool's Day.
All right. I'm in.
So I negotiated with Josh because you know what? One of those was bench press.
Oh, we did a
We
one
did.
rep max of bench press.
Yeah.
We did talk about that.
We did because I was like, I need at
I
least
suck
until the
at
end of
bench
March
Yeah, I can't.
to bench press.
So he
Yeah.
took that as a sign that he could actually beat me.
So,
even though I suck,
so
I'm still
the
gonna
three
beat him.
times since I made this, 3 times since I've been to the gym, since I've made this a thing, I have never done bench press. I've only done the bike and
At
the
least,
treadmill.
at least you're training.
I'm training. I'm in full training. So
do you do
guys
like
accept-
the sit up straight bike, or do you do
No,
like
recumbent.
the yeah, of course,
Where
yeah.
you're going back
Yeah.
and forth with.
I turn 50 next
I'm
year,
the same.
and it's like I love
I watch
that,
my
bro.
stories while I do it. It's great.
So
Yeah.
you guys will accept.
Yeah,
And,
we're
hey,
in.
this is for the internet and everybody to view later.
Hey,
Yeah.
we will
For
figure
the
out.
internet.
Hey, seriously, we will figure out a money component,
It has
whether
to.
it's tickets or sponsors or whatever.
Yep.
And we will donate to. We'll donate to Veterans Outdoors.
I love.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
let's say
If you want it or
Yeah.
you need it or some
Yes.
other something.
Yeah, we'll
No,
find
I'm
something. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Benefit
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're in.
Because this is going to be an absolute shit show.
100%. It's going to be.
Yeah.
The beer mile alone.
It's
Have y'all ever done
Yes.
something similar to the beer mile?
Yes.
It is like the most terrible that I can
It's
ever
horrible.
remember feeling in my
our
life.
fantasy football guy who lost last year did the beer mile, threw up at
Well,
lap 2.
he was
Well,
trying
he
to be.
chose Guinness.
He was trying to be the big dick locker room, and he was like, "Hey, I don't care about the beer mile. I'll do it with Guinness."
You choose the beer.
Immediately,
Prove it.
immediately.
Prove it.
That's what I said.
Yep.
Prove it.
Like
Prove it.
18% alcohol.
Yep.
And he did, and he started hurling. He
Yeah.
got through the second
Immediately.
one and started. But
Yeah.
he finished.
I'm doing
He did
ultras.
Ultras?
That's
Yeah,
that's
I
for
like
5% alcohol.
I thought 4.2.
Ultras are not.
Yeah, they don't qualify. Of course, banquet qualifies.
You know what qualifies? Hey,
Yep.
I'll tell you what though, with Brad, afternoon shard, we race in the afternoon.
Ooh. Oh.
No.
I
Because,
will drink the shit out of afternoon
because,
shard.
because
Yeah.
your shard is like 10%. So
Yeah.
that would be one for every
No,
2
no, no,
laps.
no. He
Oh.
still has to drink every
Every
hour.
lap. Okay.
Okay,
He's
we
been
need to be
doing
clear
this
about
his whole life. What are you trying to
Yes.
say?
Hey, so we're
Yeah.
gonna negotiate. We're gonna
No,
negotiate terms.
he doesn't get to drink
I
shot.
do
Yeah, fuck you, Brad.
enjoy
That's-
a good afternoon shard
I hear Brad. Heard that.
Until yeah.
when it's hot. When it's hot, but when it's cold,
when
no.
the sun goes down.
Yeah, when the sun goes down, evening cap.
That's not
Yeah.
So I never
All right.
knew Josh afternoon shard existed until I started working with these boys.
Yeah.
We'd come over here and do pictures and videos and things. at GR before it was ever birthed to the public.
Yeah.
And Brad would just raise his finger and be like, after each yard, please. And the bartender knew what they were doing. They poured from the tap. He has it on his shard.
They were forced to. Like that's one of their like hiring
Yeah.
requirements.
Yeah.
What do Brad and Cody like
Yeah.
to drink in the afternoon?
That's right.
It's also we also call it a Brad pour.
Okay.
Like
It's
we're
not
not
just
we're
a
not
glass.
doing
Wine
this
glass?
like
No. We don't
No.
make 4 fingers from the stem.
no, not on the afternoon
no.
shards.
Now for paying 4 fingers from the stem, new t-shirt. We have a t-shirt guy who's brilliant, who we are challenging with, will you print this on a t-shirt?
Yeah. We're trying to find how many things he will say no to.
I feel like y'all are challenging how many lawsuits can you get yourselves in.
We have a lawyer on payroll. That's the one thing you guys don't
Listen,
have.
guys,
No, we
I
don't.
do such a shit like you for breakfast.
See, oh, you may.
Why do you eat
Wind
shit
up
for
in the hay.
breakfast?
No.
Yeah.
And that's why we love these guys. Ladies and
Okay.
gentlemen, boys and girls, internet of all ages. Man, we couldn't be more stoked that for the inaugural guest-focused own a bar, they said, they've given you a lot of reasons to never own a bar.
Yeah, they have.
They said,
Hmm.
Brad, Strip Matter, Cody Hurt, with the golden rule, let's give them all. Let me see if I can remember it. Mesquite Creek, the originator.
Mesquite Creek Outfitters.
So beer, wine, retail.
Yeah. On the square.
On the square in Georgetown, Texas. Then you had Golden Rule,
Yep.
affectionately known as GR to those closest,
Yep.
right? Membership component, but it's an incredible restaurant, incredible cocktail bar. Definitely not a speakeasy for the way we opened it in 2020.
No.
Then River and Ranch. Can you get beer there? It's free.
Yes.
There's
it's
beer in the
pretty
fridge. Yeah, you just
But
help
you
yourself.
can buy guns and ammo and fishing gear and high-end retail.
If you're a dude,
Go to River
do
and
yourself a
Ranch.
favor.
Good.
Go to River. If you're a chick that has a dude, go to River and Ranch and buy them anything in the store. They will love you forever.
Make
For-
no,
forever.
no bones
Forever.
about this. No bones about this. As soon as we pack up our shit, we're going to River and Ranch and be like, hey, I know the owner.
Jared's gonna buy some shit.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna walk
I
in.
know
Whoever's
the owner.
working up there, I know the owner.
Yeah.
We love it when people come to the
Yeah.
Commonwealth and say,
Yeah,
"Hey, I know
they
the
just
owner."
like, so do I.
Isn't that
Yeah,
the
so do I.
Your best friends ever will do that.
Yes.
You're
Yeah,
only your
exactly.
best
Only your
Only your
best
best
They don't
friends.
want to support you.
Yeah.
They just want to just. So it's River and Ranch next.
Yeah.
Then this is where I get a little gray. Technically, which opened first, Camp Brightside or Goldberger Diner?
Goldberger Diner.
Goldberger Diner.
Because
Which,
we went there.
by the way, thank
Opening,
you for
yeah,
the
thank
invite.
you for the
of the
invite.
friends
Yeah,
and
oh, no,
family.
Fantastic.
Of course.
I think we had a salad. Well, we had
We
like
had
everything.
everything.
Literally.
Not a lot. Our server was great.
I would like to apologize previously for ordering everything off the menu. We had our wife there and they wanted to taste everything.
Yeah.
Where I was happy drinking an old fashioned out of a coffee cup. They're like,
Yeah.
dude, this is a vibe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is a vibe. Full cocktail service, right?
Mhm.
And it's if Waffle House met Golden Rule and those two screwed and had a baby,
Didn't have to say
Mm.
Yes.
but-
No.
it's going to be Goldberger.
Yeah.
No, they
Yeah.
screwed.
Yeah.
That's actually,
It's really
probably,
it's
yeah,
right on
that's,
time.
yeah, wow.
My favorite supper club for GR was Waffle House.
Yep.
Yeah.
Candy
Yep.
cigarettes, White
We're
Castle, all the things.
smoking
Yeah.
in the kitchen
Oh, yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Never leaves.
Who
by the
are
way.
they?
That's
Definitely.
And then finally, right now it's Camp Brightside. It's out, not way out anymore.
No.
What would be considered way out 15 years ago, it is not. It's in a subdivision almost now. Camp Brightside, incredible outdoor indoor venue, great food, wiffle ball.
Wiffle
Josh.
ball. Yeah.
Wiffle ball
Oh, yeah.
field, live music stage. What do you guys? What's the food like there at Camp Brightside?
Americana. Like, I feel like it's just
burgers, like it's
yeah,
fried,
like
but it's the
crowd pleaser stuff. Oh,
So
maybe
you
a
can go there
tiny
with
bit
families,
church stuff.
right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Take your family after church.
Yes.
Like church stuff.
Americana.
Something for
That's
everyone.
Okay.
Just a,
Sure.
like a tiny bit church stuff, like not too church stuff.
It's still Assemblies of God. It's not full Baptist.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. There
There's
you
still
go.
leave room for the
Yes.
Holy Spirit.
Yes.
Yeah. So churched up. Churched up.
I'm going to pray for us when we're done.
We are.
Yeah.
We should.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So they got
Josh.
Camp Brightside opened just a few months ago. Half a year ago.
September.
Oh,
What
Yeah.
is
So I
today?
don't know.
October.
October. I think it's October.
Do you
So
see
5
us?
months ago,
Yeah.
3 months ago.
Do
Yeah.
you seriously know what day or month it is?
No,
Like it's
never.
business
No,
understood.
it's
it's
always
October.
Monday to us. It's every day is Monday.
Every day's a Monday.
Hey,
Every day is Monday.
we're gonna print that T-shirt. Every day's Monday.
Yeah, seriously.
So I couldn't be more thankful, Brad, Cody. No, Brad, Cody.
Jesus.
Sorry. You know, it's not gonna piss off me checking with this.